All right, we got Monday market report action. We are going to launch this puppy with a lot of really awesome coins this week, including just a wet slap to the face type of just came out of nowhere market adjustment on high graded West Point quarters. Yeah, you heard that right. We have seen prices increase across the board. There is a very specific grade, by the way, that people are targeting because they are in short supply. The populations are light, and that is all prime for some sort of collective buyout. Whether it's like an investment buyout or just a buyout for future potential, future profit, it really is irrelevant because, like I had mentioned, when these things first came out, whether they're in 2019 or 2020, and the anticipation was at its peak, people were camping out at the banks, ready, willing, and able to buy up as many rolls of the brand new quarters that came out for the search of the circulation rarity West Point quarters. I had said from day one, these things are going to be special. Look out 1, 2, 3, 5 years later on down the road, and you're going to see some ridiculous trend lines. And we're beginning to see that here today. And all it took was a couple of sales to really set just an overall out of this world market precedence on these coins. So we're going to take a look at those. But if you guys are first timers here onto the Monday Market Report, thank you for coming by and checking things out. This is the kind of like Sunday edition. Sometimes I like to upload these on Sundays, sometimes Mondays. Today you're getting out on a Sunday night, which makes it easy for you folks that like to listen to these on your Monday morning commutes. That means a lot to me to be part of that. But we're also going to take a look at all of the other relevant post-1900 modern coins to have sold here in the last week. All coming from great collections again this week. Maybe next week we'll take a look at some eBay Monday market bombs. But yeah, we have quite the list. A lot of surprising coins that ended up selling. Probably more than what I bargained for, and you're going to see exactly why. All right, well, there's really not a whole lot else to explain. All the coins are graded, like I had mentioned. I'm your host, Sean, with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Thank you again for all your views and support. Let's go ahead and take a look at the goods here of this fine Sunday night. Yeah, did you guys know that there was another 1969S double to die obverse Lincoln Memorial cent that ended up selling here Sunday night? Yeah, there was. And, it's not a super high grade one, but judging from the sale of this particular coin, the market is still really healthy on this particular rarity. Now, there's only a few dozen examples now, all right? It's quite a rarity. There's not too many of them. As a matter of fact, it's probably top 2 or 3 most hyped, anticipated coins to look for in pocket change today. Now, you're going to see a lot of the doubling, as you would expect, in the date, on Liberty, and in the motto. This is one of the strongest double the dies that you will ever see firsthand. Now, AU58 is about uncirculated, so this coin has certainly passed through many hands, but did these folks know that they had many tens of thousands of dollars passing through their hands? No, not really. That's kind of the crazy part is, that this is a rarity that's been, if you can imagine, through the circulation process, this coin had probably passed through a few thousand people's hands before it was eventually found. And then here we are. This is ancient history. All right, PCGS graded is what this one is. It's also CAC certified. I think this is a really pretty grade right here. And with that being said, this one sold on great collections in the amount of $22,525.88. My goodness, still a very expensive coin. And in today's market, they are continuously outperforming a lot of the regular coins that you see. A lot of coins from the 19th century, a lot of your Civil Wars, This coin right here that you see on screen in this condition, still a high grade rarity, still one of the top 100 modern coins that you know absolutely need to try and find. Here it is in full display this week. A nice AU58 example. Not the highest grade, not the lowest grade. This one's like right middle of the road. For $22,000, I will take it all day long, baby. All right, the next one that we have here is the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Cent. Yes, this one is a proof. It's one of the final dates of proof sets where you're still able to get these affordably. I would say for around 40 to 50 bucks. You could find a proof set from 1956. You know, they're still quite available. Now, it's not going to be like that for long. These things are continuously going up in value every year. All right, but that's because of the market. They're drying up across all different types of grades, but obviously the ones that we are looking for are going to be examples that look like this. Now, not just on the Lincoln pennies. You're also going to try and find deep or ultra cameo contrast coins in nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars, and anything else you could grab a hold of, because the cameo frosting that you see on these coins, you know, see how nice and white all the devices are on here. These are earlier strikes from generally refreshed dies, but they don't stay like that for too much longer. Another thing that I like about this one is you have the nice frosty cameo devices offset by really dark fields. You know, almost like, looks like black ice. That's that nice. Yeah, it rhymes, huh? Yeah, but before we get too far into this, you notice that there's a scratch on the obverse that's not on the coin, that's actually on the slab label. This is an NGC Proof 68 red, by the way. It does say Ultra Cameo. Again, quite a rarity for the state where 99% of the other coins have virtually no cameo frost to begin with. This one ended up selling tonight for $2,475. Again, another strong performer this week. Now this one right here just came out of nowhere. All right, it's not the highest grade. I would say this is kind of like one of your sub-tier grades. If you're looking to find a really nice specimen of this coin, and you might be in a registry set scenario of some sort, this one probably works. All right, but people are paying really close attention to that second tier of grade. If they can't afford a MidState 67, let alone a 66 plus, they will look at a 66, and that's exactly what we're looking at here. This is just an overall very clean, well-presented coin for a MidState 66. I've probably seen a few 67s that are quite close to what this one is. This one right here, these coins have gone up a little bit here in the last 2 years. And this one right here did sell for $1,306.12. Again, quite a bit of money for what we have here. It's not even CAC certified, all right? But people are beginning to look at lesser expensive alternatives to those, you know, really high-end rarities where the populations at the highest grade level are really, really slim. So this one right here, no problem here. Very nice, beautiful, clean coin. Where if you're spending, you know, over $1,000 for a second tier, might as well get one that is as clean as this without carbon spotting and things like that. Now we're getting a little bit tougher dates here, albeit we're still in Philadelphia minted coinage, and that's okay. You know, these are quite scarce. We are talking about the Great Depression age of coinage, where a lot of the coins were not really saved in this kind of condition. However, we're working with a PCGS MidState 66 Plus full red. It's also CAC backed as well. I think I really like this one just for its simplicity and not being that 67 and up, where oftentimes you're probably looking pretty close at a 5-figure price tag for those examples. This one right here ended up selling for $1,555.88. I would say is a great compromise at this grade level. We do have a couple more pennies on the list, both Lincolns. We have a 29. I would say this one is pretty much on par with the 31 that we looked at. However, this one is a MidState 67 red, a little bit tougher date here, albeit still a Philadelphia, not as tough as Denver's or San Francisco's of the same date. If you're still looking for something to really pad your points lead in your Lincoln Cent registry, this is the one for you. Now, it's also CAC certified as well. And this one ended up selling for $2,081.25. And then finally, we got the 1912 Lincoln. Now, looking at this coin compared to the previous 5, I mean, you're going to see just some incredible detail early on, all right? When these Lincoln Cents first hit the scene in 1909, you know, the Mint really did a good job with the engraving work on those master hubs. They really did, and, you know, it shows. These coins are beautiful when they're in high red mint state condition. You could just see the detail, the overall texture of the fields really screams early teens Lincolns. This one right here is a Philadelphia, not the rarest out there, but the grade certainly makes it a little bit more scarce than your garden variety 64 or 65. Yeah, this has a number of applications, including registry sets. It's also a great slot, a great fit for an investment portfolio, and even a typeset collection. This one right here realized $2,945.01. So a $2,945 profit on this coin. Just a really beautiful piece, one in which that will age gracefully. This is a safe bet right here. Okay, now we're on to nickels. And this one right here is not your prototypical quote-unquote stunner. It really isn't. It's a 1984D. I mean, come on. McFly wasn't even a thing in 1984. It wasn't until 85 before that became a thing. But 1984D is a really tough date. You could say the same for 83, 82, 81. The strikes were appalling on these. I mean, you know, finding one that's as clean as the example you see here is a little bit challenging. Now, people have been hunting out some of these coins in mint sets. So people are cutting open mint sets to try and grade out some of these condition-sensitive type of dates. Who would have thought early 80s would fit that mold? You know, it does. So this one right here is MidState 67 full stepper. The luster is okay. A little bit on the dark side on this one. It might just be the photography. But if you were looking for a coin to really fill out your nickel registry, this is probably the one right here. I don't think there's any graded any higher than this. As a shocker, this one sold for $4,023. In the perfect world, we don't envision that kind of money attached to early 80s coins of any type, not even dimes or quarters or half dollars. It's just an incredible world we live in. Just that the market, the hobby is one in which it's a funny place when the market overperforms. And we are certainly there with coins like this. $4,000. I mean, who would have thought? Now, the next two coins that we have here, because Jefferson nickels, you know, some would say it's either has to be full steps or it's nothing at all. Well, this next two coins might actually kind of buck the trend a little bit. We have a 1945S, okay? Popular wartime silver type nickel, okay? That's why these are popular, is because they were a completely different composition to what the other nickels were made. But this one right here, take a look at the grade. MidState 68. And guess what's not attached to it? No full steps designation on this. All right, there's just way too many little nicks and scratches on the actual steps to be able to have that designation on there. However, take a look at the toning on the edge. This is probably either a coin that was in a BU roll at one point or an old album. All right, those are the only two things that I could kind of drill down as to where this coin was originally sourced from. This one right here sold for $1,181.25. Wartime silver nickels of either a high grade or a combination of high grade and full steps are going to continue to really set the market afire because of their unique composition. So if you're looking to possibly get into a certain aspect of numismatics and you wanted to stay in the modern kind of era, check out some of these World War II dated coins. They're actively being pursued, especially in high grades, but also for their unique nature as a type coin, a much needed one in the set. And here's another one either that did not receive a full steps designation. However, it's got a charm all on its own. 1941S nickel right here exhibits a little bit of toning, probably some old album toning from an old Dansko or Whitman. At one point, added in a little extra flair to this one. Not a tough date by any stretch, but it did not deserve any full steps. It's a 67 plus, so it's right up there. A relatively clean example. This one sold for $1,944. All right, beautiful looking coin here. If you did not want to spend $10K on something, this is a great, secondary option for you. And then we do have, what do we have here? One Buffalo Nickel, believe it or not. Buffalo Nickels were on the light side this week. There was a three-legged Buffalo, a 37D that did sell. But there was generally three-legged Buffaloes that sell every week. All right, so we do have a 1928S. A little bit tougher date. It's not quite 25S or 26S, but, this is kind of like the date as you go back, in age of the Buffalo Nickel series. This one is quite scarce, especially with a Denver or San Francisco mid-mark attached to it. Now, the coin is not a premier example. It's got a few carbon spots in certain areas, but a really nice type piece nonetheless. This one is a PCGS MidState 65 example, and this one sold for $2,221.88. All right, we do have a few dimes. Great Collections actually sold a 2-coin pair, kind of like a registry set starter kit of sorts. We have a 96 and a 96D. So we have a Philadelphia and Denver minted combo here, both at the highest grade level at 68 full bands. All right, so when it comes to registry sets, the full bands designation is going to be key for the success of that registry set. So that's where kind of like a little bit of the desirability and appeal to coins, even as recent as 96, is going to be. So for the 2-coin set, this one realized $1,575. You could probably split it right down the middle. $780 a piece is what each one of those is worth. The newer that you go, the less the coins will be worth at the highest grade level, because the condition is so much better on the later dated dimes of the 2000s than they are from the 90s. And of course, the biggest coin that you're going to want to cherry pick did sell. It's the finest graded Cameo example to have sold out in the open market. 1968, no S. These are supposed to have an S mint mark, but yeah, they inadvertently left the S mint mark off of them because the master hubs were produced at the Philadelphia Mint. The San Francisco Mint did not punch in the mint marks on these hubs, or the dies rather. So they never had an S mint mark on a few examples, but there are a few. All right, we're talking like less than a handful, less than like 5 or 6 of these that do exist. And that's the primary reason why that these have become the ultimate chase piece. Is there an extra example sitting in a proof set out there? Well, these have been found in proof sets in recent memory. Within the last 5 to 10 years, people have found examples of this coin in proof sets. It's a proof 69. That's about as good as you could get, close to being a perfect 70. It does say Cameo on there. And this one sold for $50,132.25. Again, this is another top 100 greatest modern coins. Q. David Bowers had done a book for Whitman Publishing, highlighting the top 100, modern rarities. This is one of them right here. Not quite a 75 no S, but hey, a 68 no S in the finest grade is one that is going to end up in a collection for a very long time. And the final dime in today's list is going to be this 1930s Mercury dime. This is a really nice example. It's not a premier graded specimen. This one managed to squeak by a MidState 65 full bands. It does have a full split bands outlook here on the reverse of the coin. So the fascies of that reverse look pretty good based off of my old eyes. But 1930s is one of kind of like your medium dates. Not quite a scarcity, but, at the same time, not one that's like readily available as a raw MidState coin if you need it. This one right here sold for $1,631.25. Again, a really nice type piece. I lied. We did have one more dime. How about 1916D? Now, this is about as minimal as you should be able to shoot for if you're looking to own one of the premier key dates of the series. This one right here ended up as a PCGS Good 4. It's also CAC backed as well. You're going to know that on much worse examples, the D ends up getting lost here. It gets worn down to the point where, it'll either be a D or an S. And when it gets to that point, graders generally won't assign any sort of grade to it because they can't discern an actual readable mint mark. But yeah, this is indeed one of the most important modern key date coins in any grade. This one right here sold for $1,362.38. It used to be that a nice, good graded coin like this one used to sell for about $750, but it looks and appears like the market has kind of moved and jumped a little bit on this one here in the last few years. This one is, by the way, just a decent example of this key date if you need one for a set. Well, we finally made it. We're going to talk about a couple of 2020 West Point quarters. Again, these are circulation rarities. These were released in not only 2020, but also 2019. The big differentiator between the two dates is that the 2020s had the V75 privy mark here in the left side of the field. All right, so right there at K9, there on the left side of the coin is that V75 privy mark. So these have been ultra white hot popular. And there were a few dates. The American Memorial Park of 2019 and the Marsh Billings Rockefeller have been kind of like the bell cows out of the 2-year series. Every single ATB design had a low mintage of 2 million. They were released into circulation. These were never available as a standalone purchase through the U.S. Mint. And that's why that makes these a future for sure thing spec coin that if you were going to get into it, you need to get into it now. But did that train drive by? Did you miss it? I don't know. But what I do know is some of the biggest top coins out of the 2-year series have sold for unprecedented money. So the Marsh Billings Rockefeller right here is a MidState 67. What else is missing from it? Well, it's neither a first week of discovery, nor is it an early find. Remember, those attributions do exist. This is just a standard graded MidState 67 that was probably sent to PCGS 6 months after release. So it didn't quite qualify for early find or anything like that. This is the kind of like benchmark, kind of line drawn in the sand type of grade that you want to aim for in every respective design, because the population numbers drop through the floor after MidState 66. And these are effectively future speculation, future kind of like enhanced collectible type coins that if you were going to pour any sort of money into it, if you had $1,000 today to pour into 2020 or 2019 West Point quarters, definitely go for 67s in any one of those designs. All right, they are going to continually go up in value. And I would say 5 years from now, these things are going to be quite untouchable for a reasonable amount of money. So Marsh Billings Rockefeller as a raw coin sells for about $50 by itself. But how about 67? This one right here is sold for $3,487.50. Again, do not sleep on the series because they are still popular to this day. Here's another one right here. This is the Weir Farm. All right, 2020 West Point as well. Now, this one does say early find, which by itself does carry a little bit of additional premium. All right, that as much of a gimmick or a marketing ploy as early find and first week of discovery is, people do pay an additional 10, 15, 20% market premium adjustment for things like that. So this one right here, again, has that V75 privy mark, and this one sold for $1,250.87 as recently as about November, December of the previous year, 2021. This MidState 67 Weir Farm could have been obtained for around $500. The market has since more than doubled on this particular coin. So again, did the door quite shut on the series at the highest grade level? Not necessarily, but I wouldn't wait too much longer. In addition, if you did have raw coins that look pretty good, that you've saved from the release of this series, you might want to consider getting a few of them graded. But be absolutely discerned when it comes to choosing the right examples. Make sure that they are unbelievably clean, void of any distracting marks and staining. And then we're going to end it off on a couple of, for sure, kind of rarities here. We have a 1921 Standing Liberty quarter. Very nice high grade, lustrous example here as a MidState 66 through PCGS. I mean, you can't ask for anything more. This is a really, really tough date as well. It's also got a CAC green bean sticker, okay, which means a whole lot to the collectibles world. This one ended up selling for $6,018.75. And then finally, we're going to end it off on another Standing Liberty quarter, this time a 20D, just as beautiful as the previous coin. Keep in mind, both examples do not exhibit a full strike. They don't say full head on them, which is okay. These are quite scarce the older you get. This one right here has a 66 sold for $4,012.88. My, what a good way to end off this edition of the Monday Market Report with some absolute beauties. Keep in mind, the market is still hot. It's still really good. How long will that trend last? Well, if you got coins to sell, now might be a time to move them. Obviously there's no time like now if people are willing to pay the kind of ultra huge premiums that you're seeing today. Might as well take advantage of it, if and only if you need to and have the desire to have that extra cash lying around. But that's going to go ahead and do it. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell for instant stuff. You know what it is. Would love to hear your thoughts. Did you have a favorite on today's list? Go ahead and post it below. But Coinaholics, that is all for today. Don't work so hard on your Monday. Have a great week, and I'll see you on the next coin video. So long, y'all.